Just a couple of guys, a couple microphones, and a heck of a lot of know. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
What they say, it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmys and the Joes.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Football on the Know. I am Jim McPhee, and alongside of me, Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, know-it-alls? Welcome back for another edition of Football on the Know Show.
Yeah,
if you want to be in the know, you have to get in the know. And the way to do that is to help us out. Head over to YouTube. Do us a huge favor. Smash that subscribe button. Don't just click it. Smash it. And then hit that notification bell. Let you guys know when we go live. You can also follow us anywhere you get your podcasts. You name it. Drop the follow there. Take us along for the ride, because we like company.
Absolutely, absolutely, Joe. We do love the company, so come on in. Let's see the comments down there. Whatever you guys want to complain about, talk about.
Right.
We are talking
Bring it
quarterback questions right now, Joe. Oh, my goodness. So many questions, Joe.
There is
After
a lot
this
of questions.
Week, I've got a bunch of different questions, Joe.
I can't wait to hear them.
Things that I thought might have been even by trusting some of these, analysts, so-called analysts.
Oh, you mean the experts?
The experts.
I gotcha.
And watching with my own eyes, and in the way they like to even question, we still don't know what, if people are figuring out things about Daniel Jones and all this other shit that I have to listen to around here in New York.
Right.
A lot of stuff going on with questions. First of all, though, let's invite Carson Wentz back to the NFL. Joe, you want to invite him back to the NFL?
Carson.
Yeah,
welcome back, buddy.
Absolutely,
welcome back.
Mm-hmm.
You made it. We didn't think you could do it. We did not think you could pull this off, but you did. Mike Tackett chimed in. The OG know-it-all is right. In the house. Mm-hmm. Says, you guys have Patreon should offer exclusive content there. Yes, my nude pics will be there momentarily soon. Yeah. We're going to do a calendar and everything.
A calendar?
Yeah.
Nude pics. Is that what he said?
Yes,
I wasn't sure what
do.
he was saying. Exclusive
No, he
content.
wants, exclusive. It could be anything, Jim.
OnlyFans, like a Joe.
Yes, it could be anything, bro. Anything you want it to be.
Interesting that he's the one that bring that up first.
Yeah,
I like it, though.
Mike
whatever.
Is,
it's a new
excited.
way to go. Okay. But Carson Wentz, yeah. Let's talk about Carson Wentz. Like, hey, let's welcome back Carson Wentz. Hey, Jim and Joe get nude and sell it.
No.
Let's get subscribers that way.
But it's a good idea, Mike. Appreciate the comment there. Like, no, we're not on Patreon.
I don't even know what that is.
It's another.
Is it like an OnlyFans thing or something?
It's it's like another avenue you can go to, like drop like new content there and like exclusive like just content, like you were saying.
Like you said, yeah.
So like if we wanted to have like a coffee session over football or something, we could put on.
He's not OnlyFans or something like that.
Oh,
yeah,
our mistake.
Yeah,
we got a little confused.
I don't know, bro. I don't know this stuff.
Got a little confused here.
To what the kids are doing these days, You just don't know what these kids are doing. But Carson Wentz, he's back. But what does this tell you about the Rams now? You know what I mean? They lose their veteran quarterback, and let's look at it.
Yeah.
2 years in a row now that Matthew Stafford, after winning this Super Bowl, the injuries plague him again now. They signed him in to get that, and they sacrificed it, sold their soul to the devil to get him here to get that quarterback.
It worked.
And now he's been injured the past 2 seasons here to where they've tried to bring in like a plug-and-play quarterback. They did it with Baker Mayfield, and now you got Carson Wentz in here. What are you looking even kind of to do with this team at this moment?
I mean, for this whole situation, like we knew what Stafford was. He had a bunch of injury issues in Detroit before getting traded. So, I mean, I think the Rams knew what they were getting. Listen, he did his job. They won a Super Bowl. They knew that injuries were gonna maybe perhaps rear their ugly head down the road. But here it is. Stafford, it's not like he's out with any kind of major injury. So like he's not going to miss the whole season, but this is going to be a reoccurring thing going forward for Stafford and the Rams. And I think that's probably the reason why. I'm not going to say they were desperate, but I think this is a move where they recognize that the backup that they had in place is not going to get it done for them. So they wanted to bring in a veteran quarterback, and who was available? Carson Wentz was one of the quarterbacks available. They chose him. And I don't know, maybe there's some kind of relationship that we don't know about. Maybe it's the familiarity with the offense that McVay runs. So we'll have to wait and see, when and if he gets the opportunity to show what he can still do. I know Eagles fans out there and Washington Commander fans out there know what he can do, and it's mostly negative.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, had an opportunity with the Colts, and I couldn't make it happen for them. But yeah, Joe, after watching this week especially, it's just kind of a lot of question marks thrown at me. And I think it was even partially after Monday night, but then also, again, I saw this headline here, too. I watched a little bit of the Undisputed when Richard Sherman brought up the fact that he thinks C.J. Stroud now showed that he's a top 10 quarterback in his league right now.
Right.
And then I'm kind of looking at this league right now, quotes,
air quotes.
What quarterbacks are even left in this league right now with the injuries that are happening even right now with some of the starters? You're looking at the likes of, Zach Wilson and, Tyson Badgett and, now Matt Barkley for the Giants here, Carson Wentz, so what do you really even have right now? And even for me, it kind of made me start to question the top tier or elite quarterbacks that are in there because from week to week, it seems like it's almost different. We've seen Patrick Mahomes play pretty well, but, 2 weeks ago, absolutely putrid, terrible, can't do a damn thing right, can't get out of his own way. And for the main thing that kind of sparked this for me is, which we've touched on in a few weeks now, the fact that Justin Herbert allowing his finger must be to still allow him to play terribly because of his finger and use it as an excuse to where I'm just done. I'm watching him play against the Jets, and it wasn't exactly the play of the Jets that was hindering his ability and making him worse. If it wasn't for an immaculate catch or adjustment by Keenan Allen to make that twisting catch, you're looking at that throw and saying, Justin, what are you doing? A dude is wide open and you're just flat out missing them. So much to the fact that I've watched it for the past couple of weeks now that I've questioned the ability of Justin Herbert and how some of these people want to put him on that pedestal. Is he elite? Is he not? That for me, I'm wondering after this is all said and done in this season that I'm thinking that he's just an average quarterback at this point.
I mean, for Herbert, it's been an up and down road for him, for sure. I think we've seen him play extremely well. We've also seen him, like you mentioned, make a lot of mistakes. And it could be attributed to really simply, like, the offensive coordinator is different now. I'm not saying that he's the reason why Herbert is playing so bad. I'm just saying that even, like, the play calls in the offensive philosophy in that Charger team there, it's not all what it's cracked up to be a lot of times. So I don't think Herbert is a bad quarterback. I don't think he's an average quarterback. From what I've been able to see him since he's been in the league, he's an above average quarterback that's still working on maybe being one of the best. And in order to do that, they got to keep, some camaraderie around him. Like, they got to be able to keep offensive coordinators. They got to be able to keep a head coach in the seat. Because right now, we know, as well as anybody, Chargers are even contemplating if they're going to keep their head coach or not, or start from scratch again and whole new regime comes in. So for Herbert, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I still think he's a decent quarterback. I still think that he can be the starter for the Chargers for many years. But again, I don't see him as elite. And I know early on in his career, it was a thing. People kind of put him on the pedestal and said, this kid's going to be something special. And they could still be right, but he's not there yet.
Yeah, I mean, and it just got me to thinking about other people again, because when you want to put these guys again, maybe I'm just maybe we've been spoiled, Joe, because we've kind of lived spoiled in this era of many different. I mean, when we were younger, we even got to see a guy, Joe Montana and those guys. But it seemed like for me, there had to be a time like when we were living through the Peyton Mannings and Tom Brady's, and then even the Eli's and Rivers and Roethlisberger eras.
Rodgers.
There had to be a top five or elite tier, and then there was just everybody else. And to me now, to try and it seems like we're trying to figure out who is that top tier, and maybe, just maybe, there really isn't one anymore at this point. Maybe it's just a hodgepodge of everybody that's just in the middle. And that will lead us to our next topic in a little bit. But maybe, again, the way these quarterbacks play, maybe we're not going to just get that guy that stands out out of everybody else. That's just that much better. These guys aren't just that much better. There's things that are good about them, but they're going to have their downsides about them. Josh Allen, he's got a big arm. He puts everything on his shoulders. It's his good parts, but it's his bad parts just as much as well. I mean, with the turnovers that he might have here and there.
I would say the one thing about that, though, too, is that for a lot of these younger quarterbacks, because that's what it is, we're in an interesting stage of the NFL with quarterbacks where people are very quick and overreact a lot of times to success and limited success. Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, a few names to bring up that everybody views them around the league as the best quarterbacks in the league. You know what I mean? Rodgers is at the end of his career, but we've seen him. That guy is phenomenal when he's healthy. Like, he's considered elite. He's earned that right. He's had a long career of doing it. But now you have these new age quarterbacks, like we mentioned, where they're not the same as your prototypical pocket passer from years ago. They're not the same as the guys that just would distribute the football. There's no kind of crazy plays that they kind of come up with. This new age quarterback, Lamar Jackson included, because he's another big name out there, that they make things happen when plays break down. It's given an insertion of new life to that position, to where now people are relying on the fact, like, hey, your play is never over until it's really over, because these hybrid quarterbacks, I guess you could call them, are now adaptable with their mobility as well as their arms and their creativity on the fly. So I feel like right now, with a lot of people overreacting, saying, well, these guys are definitely elite or they are top 5, hands down. And you might be right now, but let's see what they do over the longer course of their career. Can they sustain this success? Because I know there's other quarterbacks out there that have had to go through very rigorous careers and tough it out with terrible coordinators, and they still were able to overcome that, or bad coaching or bad personnel on the field. So let's see if they can continue that long term.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny again, because never every good, every week you really count somebody out, or even even say, hey, they're gonna stand out out of everybody. But yeah, I mean, it was just something that kind of triggered me a little bit, and I'm looking.
I like it when you get triggered sometimes, because it really turns the gears up in your head, and you start to come up with these creative topics.
Hey, that's what I try and do. You
got to do it.
Yeah. Because if you look at it too, because they tell you how much does that quarterback really drive the needle, to where they're too much of a, how much do you need that franchise quarterback, they like to say, other than the game manager? Because we've seen, because of injuries, a lot of these guys step in, make an impact. Look at Will Levis now, named the starter going forward, and Tannehill's taking the backseat as a backup, whether he's even healthy or not.
We knew this was going to get
back
there, though.
And they felt comfortable enough that they're just going to roll with it now.
Yeah, we knew that.
That's
one of those things where, like, we saw this coming. We knew Ryan Tannehill was going to have to give up that seat eventually, and Tennessee struck out with Malik Willis. Didn't really work out. Definitely a long-term developmental type of guy, but they've kind of given up hope on him. Exactly. And then you got Will Levis, who, given the opportunity in 2 games, has won the hearts over. He's won the hearts over of Tennessee fans, and rightfully so. They've deemed him now that he's the future. He's our guy going forward. And let's see if he can continue it, because he's going to have some adversity down the stretch of the season, no doubt about it. I want to see how he reacts when that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. So let us know in the comments what you guys think even about there. What do you think about some of the even quarterbacks out there when that's playing? Mediocrity. You think they're overrated, underrated? Let us know in the comments. Absolutely. And that leads us to our next topic even right now, Joe. Let's roll right into it. The parody of the NFL. We have asked kind of for this, or even the NFL is kind of like, hey, we're looking to drive towards this.
They've been getting closer to it.
We've been driving towards this, and this is what, I think we all want.
Some of us too.
But, if you look at it, is it though? Is it the thing that we really want right now? Because looking at the standings even right now, there's a majority of the teams are 500 or below right now.
Right.
Near there.
Yeah.
You got your few that are out there with the Chiefs and the Eagles right now. But even looking at those teams, to me, am I confident that they are truly the best right now? You know, the
Right.
Eagles, they look good on paper, absolutely. But even during each game, there is a hint of doubt in each single one of those. To where the fact that I feel they can get beat by, you know, a lesser, you know, team at this rate, or what you think might even be a lesser team. We've seen so many surprise upsets in this league so far.
Right.
And now even with take a look even at the Cardinals with Kyler Murray coming back here this week. For them, I think they have an opportunity to win that game even at this point with him plug and play for them. Because, you know, they were getting really close with Joshua Dobbs. And look what he did with very minimal time, knowing the playbook, and he jumped in, and he ended up pulling out a win here for the Minnesota Vikings. So it's all over the map here. I don't know where to go. But what are we getting here when we go into the NFL? I mean, is this what we really wanted? Because it's such a blurry type of deal right now, where we're all just kind of like, is this great play, or is it just that good that it's just back and forth that much? So it's a chess game.
It's really like very murky water right now trying to figure out these teams this year. And the parody is here whether you like it or not. Now, is it good for the NFL or not? That's going to be like everyone else's opinion. Some people prefer like having a couple teams that can just dominate and just run through these conferences and go right to the Super Bowl, and let's get it on and see who can win it in the end. But I mean, I know, like, speaking for myself, like, I like parody because parody gives ample opportunity for everybody to show what they can do. No game, you can't go into any of these games and be like, oh, definitely a win. There's going to be games where it should be that, but then, you know, Monday comes around, you're like, what the hell just happened? How did Arizona beat the Cowboys? Like, I remember that's how I felt Monday as Arizona beat the Cowboys, and I'm like, I didn't see this coming at all. Like, not even close. So I think it's good. I mean, honestly, like, it makes the league way more intense, way more exciting, and anybody, any given Sunday, we've said that term 100 times on this show. It's never truer than this season, where you can have a team that should beat up. Like, we've seen the Jets pull out a couple of wins where we're like, I didn't think they were going to win with Zach Wilson. And you know, and that's the thing, is like, now we're looking at some of these games and we're like, well, I mean, it's like roll the dice and let's see who comes out a winner.
Yeah, absolutely, Joe. And it's tough, you know. Like I said, is it more of even a thing of the teams getting better or even better in depth, or is it even too? If you gotta count in injuries at the quarterback position too, because how many?
Yeah, you do.
Has there been a season this season? I think that there's been so many starting quarterbacks that have kind of been down.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's
seems
happened
like
before.
Half of them are out, you know. I mean, and then you got these guys in.
Yeah.
But even that being said, there's no exact team that you think is going to be a loser because their backup is in at this point.
It depends. It depends, because there's definitely backups that are now going to get the starting gig, and they are not going to be the starters going forward. They're not going to win that job over their predecessor from before. Like, it's not going to happen on a talent-to-talent basis. Like, it's too different. You might be able to scheme up some things to get wins, to steal a couple wins. Look, we're seeing it right now with Chicago, with Tyler Badgett, like Division II quarterback. And don't get me wrong, like, he doesn't play like a Division II quarterback. Yeah. He's definitely smart. He definitely tries to not turn the ball over and everything. And I know you're supposed to expect those things out of a quarterback, but he just simply doesn't play like a quarterback from the talent level that he came from. So, and I think that could be also, this is where the other variables come into play. You have offensive coordinators that get very creative with their backup players to try to get them as successful as possible. You have the personnel that's on the field. Whether you have the right personnel or not due to injury, you know, that could influence how well your team's going to play as well. So there's a lot that goes into it, and Chicago is basically just skinning by their teeth on this, honestly. Like, if Fields is in those games that they managed to pull out and win, I think they not only win, but they flat out beat the team up and get the win. So it's like, I think that's what you're seeing with some of these backups that come in. Yes, they're having success, but they're not winning the prettiest games. They're basically winning towards the end of the game, or the teams have grinded that out to when the clock ticks 000 and they kick a field goal. Like, so I see, like, is the quarterbacks important? Yes, because when you lose your starter, let's look at Minnesota.
Yep.
Now, you just brought up Dobbs, came in, didn't know the playbook, just basically got off the flight and stepped into the locker room, and he's out there playing.
Right.
Due to injury to Jaron Hall, unfortunately, again. But Kirk Cousins is such a difference maker as a starter for Minnesota. Now he's out.
Yeah.
They do whatever they can. They bring in Dobbs. But what did Dobbs do in that game? I watched that game. Dobbs ran all over the field with his legs.
Yep.
Now, if Atlanta's defensive coordinator would get his head out of his ass and say, I'm playing basically a third-string quarterback right now who doesn't know the playbook, I'm sending pressure and I'm playing man. And I want him to beat me with his arm. I am not going to allow him to run around. I'm just going to come after him. We're going to contain him and get a sack, get a turnover, whatever. But that wasn't the case for Atlanta. Apparently, Atlanta needs more help than we thought in their staff there. So
Smelly pirate
they had they had a layup, basically a layup W with all that situation going on, and they couldn't get it done. So Dobbs is as a limited success as he's had with Arizona, now with Minnesota, it's going to be tested. He plays New Orleans this week, so let's really see if it's going to actually be something that's cracked up to be.
Yeah. I mean, and again, it's tough. You know, sometimes you question the fact that, is this really good football to watch, or we're not sure what we're watching here. Is it due to some of these backups coming in or not? Because again, when I look at it and look at the starters that we have, if you list them off, Geno Smith is an active star in this game in league right now. You got a young, Brock Purdy that's, in this league right now. That's even people are now questioning.
I don't know why
what he has.
I don't know why.
Trevor Lawrence right now, again, he's so expected to be the next Peyton Manning, moving forward or whatever.
Is that what they're really saying about him?
Well, what's a lot of people are thinking, again, because, they're looking for that next prospect. What we heard about Andrew Luck and all this other stuff too. And maybe, again, going back to the quarterback situation, how important they think it is and what it might be to what we're even seeing right now. It's all opinion-based, and it takes a certain amount of time. I remember looking back and reading some articles as I'm going through and prepping for our shows before, and I looked back at an older article, and it was during the times of the Seattle Seahawks part, right? When they were kind of the Legion of Boom.
Yeah, right.
Literally, in that article, they were even describing on Russell Wilson and how he's such an impactful player and what he was doing, that they were actually saying that crowning and trending right now that he was going to be Hall of Fame trend.
Right, yeah, right. I remember that.
Now, if you talk to any average fan right now, or even somebody watching football right now, if you said that Russell Wilson was going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback right now and is really leading this team and one of the top team guys in here and in this league to help the Broncos become something, you'd be laughing. You'd be laughing at me right out of the goddamn room and stuff like that too. Like, get the frig out of here, asshole. You know what you're talking about. Exactly. Right. But the fact that the Denver Broncos, though, even despite something like that, still, I think when you look at them marching into Buffalo, something tells me that they even have a chance to pull out a win, because Buffalo, with every opportunity that they've had with Josh Allen, with Stephon Diggs, the amount of talent that they have, McDermott calling the plays here on defense, still just at times look mediocre at times. So I don't know what the deal is here, and you don't know what to expect. It is week to week. Yeah. And like I said, maybe it's the best of the best of what we wanted. But I mean, for some people, maybe it's just not everybody's cup of tea.
I mean, that's the thing too, is like, and this is why, like, parody's a thing. Like, we thought the Bills were going to run through the AFC, just like we thought Cincinnati, we thought Kansas City, of course, and then maybe even Baltimore kind of comes back to their, reemergence. But we're seeing Cleveland, teams like Cleveland Browns, making a huge turnaround. Their defense is stellar. Their offense is trying to catch up to their defense right now, but they're still winning games. They're still in the hunt. So you're seeing closer games. You're not seeing as many blowouts. Like, I mean, I don't even know how many we've actually had this season. Like, really not that many, hardly at all, right? Like, couple, maybe
the
maybe a
Giants
handful,
mainly getting
maybe a
shit
handful.
kicked out of them every time. That's all I know about that one. You know what I mean?
But I would say like I think it's a good thing. And here's the other caveat of that is that you're also seeing better like coaching around the league, because we're seeing coaches former of their from their, basically their mother teams, if you will, like coordinators going to be head coaches, and then not just becoming a head coach, but excelling. Mike McDaniels from the 49ers tree, from Kyle Shanahan, goes to Miami, has done a phenomenal job with that offense, getting the personnel there and everything. And then that Dolphins team is now one of the teams that we look at every single week as one of these up-and-coming, ascending type of teams.
But still can't beat a team over 500 at this point, though, too. So, question mark.
What do you
know
mean?
What I mean? The teams above 500, they're 0-3 right now. And those are the losses that they have had.
So
every other win that they've had is a team that's below 500.
Right, but that's what parity is.
I know.
Like, that's the thing. You're seeing, so the Chiefs just beat them. And here's the funny thing. Chiefs were 7 they were 6-2 before they played the Dolphins. Dolphins lose to the Chiefs. The headlines read the next day, are the Dolphins are the Dolphins not even a playoff team? Are the Dolphins in jeopardy of oh my God, they're not going to win the division? It's panic mode. They lost against a very good team, and everyone's questioning how good they actually are.
Yeah,
it's kind of funny how that's the other issue, is the overreaction, the herky jerkiness of reporting, and quick, just like a quick trendy type of thing, just to stir the pot. It's like we noticed that a lot too. Like a lot of like casual fans out there will be like hot on the Dolphins. Oh, I'm all in on the Dolphins. I love them. And then they lose one game. I didn't think they were that good anyway. Like, come on, do your homework. Like, think for yourself. Do not believe all the hype and all of whatever's reported out there.
Absolutely. We got a couple comments here.
We got Mike Tackett back in the house.
He says, Jimmy, if the Giants, end up, or if Caleb Williams falls to the Giants, do they draft him? I think they do. I think they're already looking for a quarterback at this point right now, and it tells you right here in this week, they go and get Matt Barkley, bring him in, and he's going to be the starter. So obviously, they weren't expecting that. Tommy DeVito, a late guy that they grabbed, as a free agent.
He's definitely not
wasn't going to be the guy. No. They already knew that.
Yeah.
And what you're dealing with Daniel Jones right now, they already made that contract, so they could easily get out of it. And the fact for me, looking at Daniel Jones, it doesn't matter if he's even the guy right now at this point. For me, he can't stay healthy. So you got to bring up that even question mark about it. Is he even worth it to you at this point? Because if you still have the question, is he even the guy still at week or year 5, 6? There's a problem with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
oh my God, who the hell cares?
Then you're thinking about the injury, neck. Now at everything. With the ACL, dude, it's just not going right now. And if you've got a guy here again that traditionally it could be generational talent. This is what you hear year in, year out. We'll see.
All the time.
But if this is a guy that they need right now, they have to look quarterback right now. This is the way to do it. This is a chance for them to get their guy, because, again, remember, they joined into this team having Daniel Jones there, and they were trying to figure out if he was the guy even for them at this point right now. So moving forward, I think they have to go in, get a guy that they want, set what they need to set here, and run the show the way they want.
Well, the one thing I'll say about the Giants here is I wouldn't be so all in on Caleb Williams just yet. If you're looking at the team, this is a year 2 draft a quarterback if you want one. However, there's so many talented quarterbacks coming out. I'm not so sure Caleb Williams is going to be the number 1 overall quarterback taken in the draft at this point, because, and you could call it a hot take if you want, but I'm not all in on Caleb right now. I've seen too many disappointing throws from him this season. Last season, if you were to tell me he was coming out last year, hands down, number 1 overall quarterback being taken, and someone is trading up to number 1 spot overall to get him. But now, a year removed from that success this season, he is struggling a lot. And he's holding on to the football. He's overthrowing players, not making the right reads. Like, there are issues week in and week out with Caleb right now. So I'm not all in on Caleb as much as a lot of the population is right now. So I want to wait and see down the stretch if he gets back to anything like he was last year, or if he's going to continue slipping down the slope here. Mike Tackett also said that, to be fair, Matt Milano's injury hindered that Buffalo defense production. We've been saying it on the show too, Mike. Also, teams who can run the ball in November and December will start to separate themselves. And that's the other thing too about it, is that it's a different mindset when you make the playoffs, or when you're pushing to make the playoffs down the stretch, is you got to have a few things in line. You just have to. You have to have a running game. You have to have the ability to protect and to run block. And you got to be able to distribute the football. It doesn't have to be to elite receivers, but guys that can get the job done. And defensively, this show is like the motto for defense wins championships, and it does. We've seen it happen more often than not, where you could have the number one offense against the number one defense, and 9 times out of 10, the defense always wins. So you got to have a studded defense, and you're right, Mike. Down the stretch, we're going to see these teams. Right now, it's very murky mid-season. We're seeing a lot of 500 records. We're seeing some teams there's a few teams we know are definitely out, right? We can all say the Patriots are out of this. It's official. They're 2-7. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of teams, and that's why we're bringing up Parody, is that they're still technically in the hunt. Like, they're not out of it. Broncos, amazingly, they're only 3-5.
Right.
So they're not really out of it just yet. The AFC North is, and this is kind of what we envisioned in the North, is that they're so evenly matched that there's not a whole lot of separation throughout that division either.
Right. And that's why it's even tough, because right now they're even talking tanking right now. A lot of people are saying, all right, who's got a tank right now? The Giants should be trying to tank right now, because this is it. And it's so close right now. Within another win or so, that depends or determines whether you're drafting number one overall and stuff like that. So how much of the winning is going to change that effect? Like, even the Patriots, you're talking about the Patriots right now, they got to be out right now. And what if Kyler Murray comes back this weekend and the Cardinals are able to pick up that victory?
They're still out.
And then bring him there. But is it the difference of number one or not? You know what I mean? But how important? No. But even this brings up even a fact to what even Mike Tackett's talking about here. When he talked about last week, how important even is that number one overall here, unless you do get the guy that you want, and you're not going to be investing, like he's talking about, even the money aspect into what that guy might be for your franchise. Yeah. So, I mean, we're going to see this play out this season, I think. That
money thing doesn't matter anymore. Like it used to. It used to be a bigger deal when you were signing a guy number one overall and you had to give him $60 million guaranteed money in his contract for 5 years. Like, that was insane. Financially, it was strapping teams from doing anything, for free agents or even to consummate trades. Like, that was an issue. But now, since they've kind of reformatted the draft, and now all the contracts are just regimented. Like, the first pick, you get this. Second pick, you get this. There's no negotiation period anymore. So that's kind of freed up a lot of teams to take whoever they want, really, and wherever they want. So Caleb Williams, if that's the first quarterback that ends up going in the upcoming draft, and how funny would it be? Because we're seeing this right now. Chicago's 2-7. The Panthers, who just drafted Bryce Young, who was all in on Bryce Young, doesn't really look that hot right now, and they're 1-7. They could come away with the first overall pick by the end of the season. You know what I mean? So how hilarious would that be? Is that anything I have to tell you about how poorly you drafted or what to get the number one overall pick again? But Chicago's got 2 of them. So that's the luxury of Chicago.
And to bring up his fact about Matt Milano, again, that's something we instantly said. It is a big factor. But again, with the amount of talent, though, you even have on that team, what you're able to do, you should be able to do something different from what you're doing even right now. And even the running, how many times do we have to say it to it? Everybody already knows it. It's not rocket scientist. No. Just stay balanced. You got to stay balanced. You can't be just at one side of the ball because then you're one-dimensional. Everybody's going to take you down. It's common sense knowledge. But it is kind of funny for me, though, the fact that, you fire your offensive coordinator for Baltimore because it's kind of like, well, this is what we're doing. We're just running all the time.
Yeah.
How much did Lamar Jackson run, this past week and things like that? It's like that was the thing. And the fact that your game plan had to be, hey, let's contain Lamar Jackson, and you
still give it up?
Do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's funny how things want to change so much too as well, and still they stay the same.
And that's the thing too. Until we see Lamar getting strapped down and he's not allowed to run, you have to force the throw. You have to make a play that way. Listen, I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback. We've seen him make good throws. We saw it this past week, throwing it to Odell. Congratulations, by the way.
He got a catch. Yeah,
congratulations, Odell.
Absolutely. Another one.
You got a.
He was amped up about that catch.
Oh, his first catch was like he just won the Super Bowl. It was insane.
Yes,
but anyway, congratulations, Odell, for getting your first reception this year, by the way.
Yes. Very good
Ravens, I will say this. They're 7-2 right now, and the big key for them is home. They're 3-1. Away, they're 4-1. They have great records, whether they're home or away. It's not like the record is skewed like, they play really good at home, but they struggle away. It seems like they're such a solid team right now, defensively, offensively, and this is a team that you could envision if they're able to pull it off and win this division, that down the stretch, like Mike alluded to, if you can run the ball, if you can do the necessary things needed to, we know they got a decent old line, they could be real players in the playoffs.
Absolutely. So there you go. That's even the parody. There's questions, anything out there
we
you
could
guys
go
want
on
in the
and
comments.
on.
Yeah.
But let's go. Let's move on.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's digress.
Parody.
Here, Joe.
It's
Parody,
here.
Absolutely, yeah. And let us know even any topics you guys want us to bring up out there, even for further shows. I think next week we're going to be talking about it's got to be that time of year, the hot seat. Hot seat's coming up, because especially after what I've seen this past week with some of the coaching. Let me vent again. Here we go. I mean, this might be my weekly vent right now.
Yeah.
Because I've called out a bunch of different coaches along the way. It's Todd Bowles' time right now. Todd Bowles,
finally,
you're on watch for me at least.
On watch.
Hot seat. You inherited a team that was kind of built already to win. Tom Brady leaves, yes, wham, but you still have enough talent around there. You can still get some things done. And what's the worst part about your team? Your freaking defense. And you go ahead, your offense marches down, gets that lead right there. You have 39 seconds, I think it was. 39 seconds. And your brilliant defensive mind says, let's go cover 4 and drop it further back and just let everything underneath, so much to the fact that you're going to give up chunks of yards, chunks. In 29 seconds, there's even 10 seconds left to do whatever C.J. Stroud had to do or want to do.
Right.
And this team that wasn't expected to do much of anything and everything with 39 seconds comes down all the way down to the field. And not only, down by 4, they need to score a touchdown. So the pressure's got to be on them. You allow that to happen here by giving him then yards. But even before all that, why, when you're marching down to get that score, you need to be the last one to score. And when it comes down to them reviewing that catch that was that first down, you had the choice to use the timeout or not. Don't you not? And then bring it down as much as you want, and then it's all on you. Last one to touch the ball. You don't. Your defense fails you. You have failed this city.
And I got to say that Baker Mayfield probably said something like this. What the fuck is going on? Because honestly, it's at that stage for Todd Bowles. I'm glad you brought him up as a hot seat candidate, because he deserves that. Like, we've seen him fail in New York, like with the Jets when he got his first head coaching gig. Nothing really went well there, and it's funny because that's when Geno Smith got drafted to be their quarterback. But his defense, again, he was brought in to revamp that defense in New York, never accomplished that. They still struggled. Now he gets a second stint at the head coaching position here, and still not making a difference when you already have talent on the defense. So what's his purpose now? Because he was once seen as a defensive guru, and now even with talent, it doesn't look like he's much of a guru like we once thought. So Tampa Bay, exactly. Tampa Bay going forward, they might have to be looking for some of these young up and coming coaches that are thirsty for a head coaching job, and give them a shot instead. See what they can do. Other thing about Tampa is they still don't have the right quarterback. We all know that, right? You know, that's another critical problem, is their offense not really kind of scoring points as well. One thing that I do want to bring up is I gotta bitch and moan and complain about this guy is Arthur Smith.
We're letting it out right now.
Arthur Smith, the Atlanta head coach. This is a guy that I've seen numerous times in this season.
What the hell is he doing with his face and everything now?
The mustache is terrible, right? It's like Farva. It's Super Troopers out there.
He looks like he should be on the sex offender list, right now. You know what I'm saying?
He might be in Atlanta. Like, watch your kids.
I'm telling you, right?
Watch your wife. This guy's weird.
Kind of creepy right now.
But, I mean, what is he doing offensively? He's been creative before in moments with the personnel that he has. And it's like, you can win with this team. Like, offensively, you should be able to, I'm saying you should be able to at least put up 17 to 24 points a game. You should average that. Definitely should. And there's games this season where they struggled to do that, to put points on the board. And too much trust in Desmond Ridder. Are you kidding me? After the evidence that has been bestowed upon you, and where are you offensively? Desmond Ridder's not the answer. I'm sorry. Atlanta fans out there, if you're a pro Desmond Ridder, I feel sorry for you, because this kid has not gotten better. We haven't seen any development this year. Any point where he has excelled his performance. And that's why he got benched. It's that simple. But it's too late. Like, you're already past the midway point now. Now you decide to do it. Taylor Heineke, here, throw him to the Wolves. Let's see what we can do. Yeah, Heineke wasn't perfect last week. He struggled a little bit. But I think that if you maybe started him in the beginning of the year, he could have got better with this team. He could have, made a big difference. So I blame that on Arthur Smith. And also, I'm going to say this right now about Arthur Smith not getting on the D coordinator, especially last week. Make adjustments. You got to do something. Exactly. Atlanta fans are embarrassed right now from the product that's on the field. So Arthur Smith
that is one big pile of shit.
Another pile of shit coach who is on the possibly on the hot seat.
There we go. Yeah, so we'll talk more about that next week. So tune in for that.
We're going to bring up 2 more next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it should be whatever we want to gripe about. Gripe in the comments to us. Absolutely. All right, so Joe, it's the picks time. That's right. The competition's hot and fierce. I haven't brought this up, in the last couple of weeks but everybody if you don't normally watch this show and stuff like that, and you're watching right now.
Yes, sir.
This picks competition is intense. It is tight just because
it's not that tight.
It is. Well, it is about the loser has to drink, a mixed drink in a jug that's shaped like a football.
Yes.
It's about the size of a football. And
it's a lot of
at
alcohol.
the end of the season, and it is hilarious, and it's a great time for the losers. And all of us drank last time, so because we ended up in a first time tie, so that was amazing. So check out the show, even and anticipate that show. So it's going to be great at the end. So it's a great competition. We have fun doing it, and it's all for you guys out there, and a lot of fun. But there he goes. There's the standings right now, Joe. We're going to get right into it here. Thursday night, we've got Carolina, Chicago. And it's funny about Thursday night games, too. No matter how much even I try and dog them sometimes, even like, oh, look at this shit show. Nobody wants to watch this garbage.
Right.
They end up somehow turning into pretty good games where I'm like sat there and I actually watched the whole thing. And I'm at the end.
Competitive.
And then when it gets to the commentary afterwards, then I shut the fucking thing off because I don't want to listen to those assholes anymore. You know what I mean?
Can we just bring up the fact, like, I know we talked off camera about it.
Yeah.
But I think they needed to get someone different than Troy Aikman in the booth with
ESPN
with Joe.
or just I hear you for ESPN.
Yeah, because I mean when Joe Buck turns, and believe me, Joe Buck is like Hall of Famer host, like the guy's amazing. But when he turns to you for advice, hey Troy, what do the Jets need to do to get back in this game? Go ahead, Troy.
Like, well, they're certainly not in the game now, are they? I don't get it. They're not doing much of anything right now. It's kind of like, yeah.
We're going to go to commercial, and we'll see you back soon.
Yeah, well, it's even SVP back
Troy,
in the studio.
what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, absolutely, dude. And it's like,
Oh my God! Who the hell?
yeah, what are you doing?
cares?
And the thing is, like, and I've read an article about this in, the New York Post too. Like, see that girl, even Carissa. And the thing is, it's sad even for female reporters that have to be anchors at this point too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They are expected to kind of, and it's sad because I would
Yeah.
like to see more opinionated women, when they're out there and give their true, honest opinion if they have one. But it seems like they set them up as the anchors, and then they go to the other former players, analysts, and say, hey, the Jets are on this, trailer, just like you said. Now, what do you guys expect to see during this whole thing? And just kind of set up every question, and you don't get anything from them at all.
I mean,
You know what I mean? It's not, and again, I understand that
I'll
being
say-
the whole thing, but it's like they almost state the obvious every time.
Right.
Hey, with this many yards and they're chunking off of this, they're not really doing a whole lot, are they?
I mean,
and then it's like, oh yeah,
one
Tony
I'll
Gonzalez
say-
ripping off a bunch of crap, and he sounds
Yeah.
worse than freaking Terry Bradshaw at this point. Tony Gonzalez sounds like he's 90 years old to try to get through a goddamn sentence.
Don't
too,
get
in
me
an
going
opinion.
on Tony Gonzalez right
But-
now because that guy's
I
terrible.
just kind of think
He's
it's just kind of
terrible.
funny though too.
Anyway, what I'll say this is like that's their job though. Like their job as they are the host of the booth of the panel, and they're just supposed to direct the show. Really, that's all they're expected to do. They do add a little bit of their opinion in certain times of the show, but it's not all the time. So I don't know if it's scripted that way. I don't know if all their job entails is they're just supposed to direct the show as they go and be the pretty face sort of thing on the TV. But I mean, listen, you got to be careful what you ask for too, because I've heard other females give their insight and it didn't make any sense at all. So I'm not saying that there aren't women out there that do know how to talk about football, do know X's and O's, do know about certain teams, but I haven't seen. I've seen
Many
one.
of them.
I've seen
Yes,
one.
yes, yes,
I've
yes.
seen one that actually knew what she was talking about so far this season. But I think it's Mia Kimes. I think Mia Kimes is pretty good at diagnosing a situation, giving her
I think
opinion.
it also depends on what
making sense.
your background is. She's background journalist, things like that. So she definitely does her research. But anyways, after that, I get enough rants. Carolina,
sure?
Carolina, Chicago, where like I said, you'd think this would be a kind of a terrible game. This could be
This is gonna be a
really
good game.
interesting, and I'm looking to see even what I'm going to get out of these younger quarterbacks here, because like Joe said, even too, you don't expect out of a D2 quarterback to come in here and kind of do something.
No.
But I kind of like what he's doing. I like the machismo that he has, the confidence. And the fact that he's, even the story, and nobody expects him to even be in a starter in this league even right now. Technically, he only is because of an injury, but
Right.
he doesn't look absolutely putrid to where like, wow, why the frig is this guy? We cannot wait until Justin Fields comes back.
Yeah.
I think he's doing good on his own. So
Right.
much fact that Carolina, I'm not sure what they expect out of them. They're
We
just
do know what to
learning.
expect from them.
Yeah, but
do.
Chicago, I just like them better. They do play better at home, and I like what Tyson Bagent has been able to do for them. I'm going to roll with the Chicago Bears on this one.
Yeah,
in prime time,
I think
baby.
it's brave to run with either one of these teams. I mean, they both
Yeah.
deserve an L
It's
before we start.
brave.
Anyway, anyway,
Very,
the
very
Panthers.
brave.
Panthers is a funny team. We saw them on national television stay toe to toe with the New Orleans Saints.
Right?
And then any other game during the season, they've looked terrible.
Yeah.
Bryce Young making turnovers happen. The team just not playing very well. Defense not getting home. Chicago, on the other hand, despite who they have at quarterback, it doesn't matter. They've been able to be creative, and I think this is the week where Chicago is going to have their whole complete offensive line healthy. I know Nate Davis hasn't practiced this just yet, but they're pretty darn close to being fully stocked on the shelves with their linemen. So I expect them to continue their success. I don't really like the defense that much. I still feel like they make some mistakes, but I think in the end, I think Tyson Bagent, with his capability of running, it keeps teams honest because it's unscripted. So
Yeah, even his back foot throws. I think they're strong enough, the arm power, and he's able to get them on target too as well.
Well, it's not hard when your guy's wide open. I mean, that's what's happening a lot. Cole Kmet is a big, weapon for him, and rightfully so. You see this happen a lot with rookies. They throw the tight end a lot because it's usually a safer throw, and Cole Kmet's been getting wide open a lot. So look for Chicago to do the same. National TV in Chicago. It's kind of hard to pick against Chicago at this point. They are playing extremely well for what they have at their disposal right now. I'm going Chicago.
All right. The Indianapolis Colts and the New England Patriots. New England, just when you thought they had a little bit of life, they look dead again. Dead inside. And, yeah, it's terrible.
This
and
is
it's
a
funny that we're
9:30 a.m.
witnessing this
game, by the way.
Oh, I know. It's
This
the
is
other one
over
in
in
Germany. It's the
yeah.
second Germany game. And it's a different feel there. So we don't even know what to expect out of this because it seems like teams play different there. One thing I did notice, though, the home team has the advantage either way. They end up, for some reason, being the home team. We saw it even with the Jags, because they're technically the home team.
Right.
And they have a lot of fans there, generates a lot of atmosphere for them to go. We saw it even when the Chiefs were there in Europe now, in here in Germany. I think they had a lot of Chiefs fans there and getting crazy. So Indianapolis Colts, even though they look good at times, they've also shot themselves in the foot a lot of times. I think even the fact, just even that New England's going to go in there, a lot of people still, especially across seas, know the Patriots for what they've been known for the last decade and a half. So I think there's going to be a lot of Patriot fans and jerseys up in the house here, and they're going to be really supporting the Patriots. And to go on that trend, I'm going to go with the New England Patriots on this one to win this one in Germany.
Nice.
Yeah. That was probably a bad, impression, but whatever. I do a better one. I'll do better.
Do better next time. They're gonna play more games in Germany. So I like what you said about New England, but also the thing that kind of bothers me about New England is their offense, man. I don't know. I don't have words for it. It's one of these enigmas I can't figure out. They just can't put points on the board. Simple. And you look at their offensive line, it is vastly injured. We talk about the Giants. The Patriots potentially going into this game, this matchup, might not even have a starter. And going beyond that, receiving core. It's a bunch of backups now at this point. So this really doesn't look good for the Patriots going over to Germany to show what they can do. Run the ball? Maybe. I mean, are they going to be able to? That's the other thing. The Patriots or the Colts, I'll say, they're a lot healthier. And as crazy as Minshew has been with performances, I like their defense a little bit better because at least it's healthier. And the D-line for the Colts is probably one of the more underrated defensive lines. I'm going to actually go the other direction. I'm going with the Colts in this one.
All right. Who do you think has better hair, Gardner Minshew or me, Joe?
Gardner Minshew. Sorry about that.
Really, that's messed up, man. No
I'm sorry.
support.
I'm sorry.
All right.
It's
I
that
might have to cut it now. Finally,
I don't know. I think honestly, I think yours is more fuller. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
like
I think
it definitely sticks out more.
Maybe. Yeah.
But like his is like more streamlined. I guess it's more of a sleek look.
I hear you.
That's kind of what I go for. So I go for the street.
So you're interested in the street look. That's your thing. That's
the
what really takes
streamlines.
you on, get you going.
I think so.
All right. All right. We've got the Houston Texans now and the Cincinnati Bengals. I tell you what, though. I think Cincinnati can keep this a close game because Cincinnati, they've been rolling right now.
Yeah.
And that scares me even at this point. Who knows?
Yeah,
maybe they are
what are we
hitting that
getting?
second gear, but you know what? A lot of the things that have been happening is due to Joe Burrow being flexible and being able to run and get out in open space and make a lot of those first downs.
Right.
So it's not exactly all they're just dropping it on some of these teams. Houston has been playing people tough every time. I think they needed that kind of punch in the mouth to kind of set themselves straight because they were kind of starting to feel that momentum and feel themselves a little bit. But it's amazing here, even what a quarterback can do. C.J. Stroud coming in, the coaching staff as well, because Noah Brown, Nico Collins, they're not flashy everyday names that you hear in people's.
But they're making plays.
Yes, in people's houses. You know what I mean? They're not household names.
Right.
And these guys, sneakily, if you look even stat lines and what they're doing, they're up there. And they're getting these touchdowns. And they're putting kind of people on notice. You know what I
Right.
mean? That's
Yeah.
the kind of funny thing about that team. They're getting it done with what seems like less almost sometimes.
And I think a lot of people are forgetting how good Dalton Schultz is. Former Cowboys
People
tight
forget
end.
maybe where he went.
They forgot. They thought he fell off the face of the earth, and he reemerges every single week for Houston. Like he's a big contributor on that offense. I gotta say this too: Houston's O-line is stellar now. They're completely healthy. They're locking up D lines, and that's what's giving the rookie sensation there, C.J. Stroud, time to throw the football, making critical throws, and doing what's necessary there. So Houston defensively too is underrated as well. Like for a young team like they are, we thought these guys were going to be a little bit ways away from being a team to push teams. You know what I mean? To be very competitive, but they're doing it right now with a rookie quarterback. Cincinnati, Jesus, their defense is really good. Like they really get after the quarterback. They really play good coverage. And Joe Burrow, like we finally see Joe Burrow, the real one. And we're seeing him kind of execute plays up and down the field. So I think this is going to be a very tough matchup. I'm going to go. I've been rocking with CJ all year. I think I'm going to continue to do so in an upset to beat the Bengals.
Boom! Upset alert, everybody! Happy upset. Cincinnati, again, I think they got enough to get it done, especially at home. But again, one thing you did say, you talk about their defense so much, we did kind of see Hendrickson a little bit kind of, stopped last week, not being able to get that pass rush in a little bit there, but still able to get it done. I like them here over Houston, but I like it. I like the flashy pick, Joe.
Here's the thing is with Trey and the Bengals, he got slowed up throughout most of the game, but then when it mattered the most, he was in the backfield.
Absolutely. All right, the New Orleans Saints and the Minnesota Vikings here.
Oh, boy.
Again, we saw Joshua Dobbs saying how happy, good for them. And he has an oddly shaped head, man. And that thing is huge. Isn't it weird? Like it's like a light bulb. His head is like a light bulb that doesn't light up. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But anyways, the New Orleans Saints.
Hold on. I got to tell you about so I saw a Minnesota Viking fan after the big win.
Yeah.
Right, last week. Guess how far he went because now he's a Dobbs fan. So we know Dobbs he's hairless. He doesn't have eyebrows.
Yeah, he doesn't have the eyebrows.
He shaved his eyebrows. His fan did.
Eyebrows.
Like that's going all in if I've ever seen
I
it.
think just somebody looking for attention.
Does he have mental issues? Maybe
He
potential.
could. It is
potential.
It is a pandemic in this country right now.
Yeah, you guys should check on him. By the way,
but anyways, I said check on him, see if he's okay.
Yeah.
The New Orleans Saints, Minnesota. That was a good story. I think they play tough, but the New Orleans Saints, I tell you what, they're not doing what I thought they were, though, too. So they worry me at times here, too. So I think this is going to be a tight game, but because of quarterback situation, I think I will give the nod to the Saints here. And for God's sakes, get the boat right here, New Orleans. You have what it takes. Just let's get it going.
Yeah, you bring that up, and they're actually doing that, Jim. Like last week, the last couple of weeks, we've noticed better pass protection. We've noticed Carr getting rid of the football much quicker because I feel like now they're at a point where they're starting to get the timing down. They're starting to get the right plays for the most part. They still struggle to run the ball with Alvin Kamara, but you don't need to when you can just dump the pass off to him and let him run in the open field. So I think the Saints are starting to figure out what they are this year. And the defense, I will say this, defense struggled last week. I kind of, even though the Saints were able to do what they did offensively, Saints defense has got to wake up. Going into this game against Minnesota, I'm sorry. I know a lot of people will say you got to ride the Dobbs train. But I just can't. I mean, this guy's going to have literally 1 week with Minnesota. Don't get me wrong. I think he can learn the playbook relatively quickly because he's very, very smart. But, Jesus, when you don't have really all your weapons. Justin Jefferson, I'm not really sure if he's going to make this game yet. His 21-day window opened up to come back, but maybe it's too soon. I don't know. But so... Even so, I'm going to go with the Saints in this one.
All right, here we go. Next up, we got the Packers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. We kind of thought what would have happened last week, and that's why I think the Rams are starting to go in. They did grab, Carson Wentz because once Matthew Stafford wasn't able to kind of join in for them last week, we knew it was going to happen. Green Bay kind of really put the thump down on them here and got it done, but. they're going to march into Pittsburgh. When it's been tough to beat Pittsburgh, there at home. Even though they got it kind of knocked in the mouth a few times, though. Too,
yeah,
they're not
they're not as solid as we thought.
Yeah, exactly. So it's tough. So they're one of the teams that tend to bite me. When I start to jump on them, get on that bandwagon.
There's a handful of teams that me and Jim usually pick, or we try to pick because we just like the roster better or something like that.
They almost let it off last week, and it's Thursday against the Tennessee Titans.
Right, and it's teams that always disappoint us. They should win the game. They should win the game, but they say, "Oh, you picked us to win. Watch us lose." So Pittsburgh's one of them. I mean, Cincinnati used to be. Cincinnati last year used to do it to me all the time, and this year it is Pittsburgh. It's one of those teams. Going against Green Bay. Green Bay played well last week. Excuse me. But the TJ Watt on the defense, guy's a menace. I mean, can Green Bay be able to protect Jordan Love with this defensive front? Like, hey, Hayward's back. At nose. You have Alex Highsmith.
Yeah.
Eli Highsmith, or Ali, whatever the heck his first name is.
No,
Highsmith.
Alex
Okay.
Highsmith. Yep.
He's on the opposite side. He's really good too. Like, don't think just because you double team TJ, you're out of the line of fire here. But man, Pittsburgh at home, this is the type of game where I definitely fully expect the Steelers to pull away a W here. But knowing my luck, Pittsburgh's going to say, fuck you, and we're going to lose. But I'm going the Steelers anyway.
He's going to go Steelers anyway. The steel curtain. Yeah, why not? Me too as well. Again, I just think.
Why not? Go for it.
Let's go for it. Next, we got the Tennessee Titans and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, boy. Here we go. Will Levis
yes.
is now the starter.
And the thing I like about him, again, too, is not only, some of his ability that he has, obviously, but the poise and stuff that he has in there, even, and taking the hits that he does, just getting back up and just boom, just roll. It's just that
he's fiery.
Like he's calm in the pocket and just going. He doesn't seem like the moment's too big for him ever. I see more fright, I think, in Daniel Jones's eyes, when he sees defenses than Will Levis. You know what I mean?
True.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It just looks like it's not too big for him at this point. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, again, with that talent that you have, you should be able to do more here, I feel like this, with this team. I just think that they're held behind by their coach. Even at times when I'm watching him during the game, give your defensive insight and stuff. It just seems like he's just standing there watching, and he's just like, I have no control over it. He's just watching it, and when things go wrong, he's just kind of like, he starts smiling. He's like, I can't believe that just happened. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean that you can't believe just happened?
I think a lot of times for Bowles,
do something.
I think for Bowles, when he has the head coaching label, I think he just assumes, he's like, well, I have coordinators to do that.
Yeah, just everybody do their job.
The offensive coordinator is going to do his job. The D coordinator that I hired is going to do his job, and I just have to sit here and call timeouts and whether just kick a field goal or say go for it or whatever. Like, that's going to be my job. I don't really have any input. I'm just here for the ride. Like, no, Todd, come on, wake up, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. But that being said, with that, Tennessee, I think is going to play them tough. This is going to be a tough game here.
It is going to be a tough game.
But overall, I might give the edge here to the Buccaneers. I'm going to go with the home team.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
But it would be nice if Tennessee does pull out. I'm kind of rooting for this Will Levis guy now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
I think I will do the Will Levis challenge out there. You guys, let me know in the comments, too. Hit up our social media. If you want me to do this, you got to like these videos. You start liking the videos, I will do the Will Levis challenge. I will eat a full banana on the peel and drink a cup of coffee with mayonnaise in it. I don't know if I can finish it all without throwing up, but I will do that just for your guys and your entertainment. How about that?
I got a better idea. Head over to YouTube and hit the subscribe button. That would be a much better idea. Listen, if we get to 100, if we get 100 subscribers, then Jim will do it.
Ding,
so
ding, ding.
You guys out there, it's up to you. Do you want to make Jim puke or not? Go over to YouTube, hit the subscribe button. And while you're there, you might as well hit the notification bell to let you know when we go live. And let's see if we can get Jim to puke. Come on, guys. I need your help. Anybody that's in
Bring it
Facebook,
on.
you got to have a YouTube account. Head over there. Just hit the subscribe button. You don't even have to watch the show. Just hit it.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, you know what? I'm going to throw the QR code up right now.
Yeah,
So there
do
it
that.
is. Do it now. If you're going to subscribe, here it is.
That's right.
Do it now. I'll leave that up a few seconds. Meanwhile, Joe, you're giving your pick on this. What do you think about the Tennessee Titans?
I like where Tennessee's headed. I think they found their franchise quarterback. I love his fire, man. Like he does not act like a rookie coming in, even though like he's only played a couple games. The guy still acts like he's very mature, very leader. He's got great leadership qualities that you've already noticed on the football field. And it does help that you have Derrick Henry in the backfield.
Right.
So against Tampa Bay, Todd Bowles, I don't know what you're doing on defense, but offensively, like really the only thing that's kind of limited them at time is Baker. But just like you said, they have a ton of weapons. There's not a lot to like there. I think the difference for this game is going to be who can run the ball better. Really is what it's going to come down to. Rashad White, I'm not really ecstatic about him. I don't think he's the answer for Tampa Bay going forward, but that's neither here or there. I'm gonna go with the Titans on this one, honestly. Like I like what the kid's doing. I don't think they're asking too much of him. I think they're keeping it pretty simple for him, and he's just making the plays that are there. So I'm going Tennessee in this one. I gotta make something. I gotta try to make something back.
Yeah,
here.
who knows? Yeah, we might do it in this full week.
I'm a ways behind. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and
Might as
again,
well start
I think
early.
this one's going to be one in the trenches because injuries on the defensive line for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then that offensive line isn't what it used to be here for Tennessee. You're going to see pressures there. So we'll see. We'll see who gets it out here. It's one in the trenches. We got the San Francisco 49ers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is probably one of the games of the week I want to check out.
epic games.
Both coming off of a bye week. So you think they all want to
Both
get
are
their
fresh.
rest and get fresh. And it's a time for San Francisco to kind of get their shit right here. They kind of were struggling a little bit here, kind of thrown off kilter after that loss. It seemed like Brock Purdy got that chink in his armor, and then all of a sudden now people are chipping away at it now, trying to break him out a little more, and he's throwing a few more picks.
Yeah.
And I feel like he feels even in himself, even though he kind of shrugs things off and kind of just keeps rolling, I still feel like with him, he's still trying to make something and trying to show people, so make these plays. And he's just got to just be who he's going to be, let the game come to him, take what you have here and give and take what they give you. So I think he's just got to chill out a little bit. Not let it be so much about him on this one, and let everybody around you help you out in this one.
Gotcha.
Plus the defense though too, Joe. I mean, for a defense with all the talent that they've had and some of the things that they've done in some of these games, seems like some of them in certain times in certain games. Really, like where are you guys going with some of this? You know, I mean, you're not being able to be that shutdown defense to try and make some plays to get these guys, to solidify that victory.
Right.
Even though those last couple games were tighter ones and they still were in it, still a little lackluster for me, at least at this point. This could be a close game. I like Jacksonville even at home, but either way, I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers to finally bounce back. Jacksonville, I think, is contender in the AFC, but San Francisco's got to be able to take down a team like this here. I like the 49ers.
Yeah, and you know what's going to be really exciting is Chase Young. Like Chase Young's going to be debuting as a 49er and opposite Nick Bosa. Like, whew.
Yeah.
Jacksonville,
Did
Trevor
they go
Lawrence.
to college together too as well, Joe?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
They were
I
at
think they're on
Ohio
the
State.
same Ohio State team.
The other thing about this game is for Trevor Lawrence, you might have to utilize your legs a lot more than you do when you want to. Travis Etienne, hopefully they can create a game plan where he just gets the ball quickly, like out in space. Try to make this Niners team chase him down. But that's the thing, is like playing the Niners defense, there's not a lot of weaknesses at all. Like you can get the ball out to the outside, but Fred Warner in the middle, it goes sideline to sideline like an animal. Chad Greenlaw, like Jesus. I don't think Jacksonville's going to be able to do it. I think they're going to compete early on because these teams don't normally know each other. But I think San Fran is going to come away with the W here.
All right, you're going for San Francisco. Nice. Okay. Next up, we've got the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens. Joe, I've been starting off too much. Why don't you start with this one here? Baltimore and Cleveland.
Let's change it up a little bit.
Rivalry, Joe. Two good defenses.
Cleveland at Baltimore. This is the black and blue game if I ever saw one. Man, two defense playing a high caliber defense. Offenses, though, kind of on different planes here. Lamar Jackson in his offense, It's the reason why they're 7-2. They've managed to put up a lot of points here and there. You gotta like where Baltimore is offensively. They have a healthy offensive line. Cleveland, though, I don't know. Like Deshaun Watson and company, like he actually looked like the real quarterback that deservedly should be in there. Was a full participant in Wednesday's practice. You're going to definitely see a healthy Deshaun Watson, it looks like, for this matchup. The other kind of question mark, though, is like Cooper. I guess he's resting an ankle injury that he sustained last week. Didn't practice either. David Njoku didn't practice, to name a couple big names there. But, man, I feel like this one right here is such a difficult matchup to pick that I think, the first time they played earlier in the season, didn't Cleveland win that game? I want to say.
Check it right here.
Yeah, check it.
They lost.
Oh, Cleveland lost.
They lost 28-3.
Wow, they got dominated.
Yes.
That doesn't mean anything because it's just a new game. But because it's in Baltimore, man, I got to lean towards Baltimore on this one as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. I think the one star-studded thing here for the Cleveland Browns was the fact that they were able to beat a Cincinnati Bengals. They were able to beat a 49ers, things like that on their belt. But then on the other side, they were able to beat the Titans and, the Colts, Cardinals. So nobody really special. So
right.
Let's say what it is. Their defense is what drives them. Jim Schwartz has got it going on.
Yep.
Again, Deshaun Watson trying to get it going. Missing Nick Chubb is still a big factor, even though Kareem Hunt's been doing well for them.
But Kareem Hunt's really come on as of late. Like he's really been able to command that backfield more than Cody Ford.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I kind of jump in real quick, but
fine.
like I think for Cleveland, for Deshaun Watson, we still haven't seen Watson completely healthy.
Yeah.
Like, be honest, be completely healthy. Like, we've seen him for a couple games, went out, missed some time, came back too early, went out, is missed more time. I want to see, hopefully he's 100% healthy for this game because I want to see him. We've seen glimpses of how this offense could look. This game might be really much closer than what it was the first time around. I definitely think that this game could be like, maybe it's going to be up to Justin Tucker in the end to kick a game-winning field goal or Hopkins or something like that. Mm-hmm. But, that's what I'm looking forward to is the battle between these two quarterbacks.
Well, and that's what everybody was hoping the hype was originally when he came to Cleveland.
Correct.
Because you wanted to see, hey, Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson, we got to see a glimpse of it when he was back in Houston. Like, hey, these are two early studs in their career.
Yep.
Let's see them battle. Yeah. It's a little different field now. So you're hoping that they can do something here. Again, if you're able to stop the run a little bit here, that just plays right into Cleveland's hands right here to take it out.
Yeah.
But Baltimore being at home, the way their defense is playing right now, and the offense is rolling, the way Lamar's going, I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens.
That just makes it right to me. That makes it so hard to pick against the Ravens right now.
Yeah, you can't. All right, now the Atlanta Falcons and the Arizona Cardinals. This is a game I was talking about earlier, to where if Kyler Murray is going to be the starter, that's what I mean. This could be. Is Taylor Heineke going to bring more this week and get a little better on them for that matter? But is Drake London going to play? I think
Drake London's going to play.
He's going to be able to play for them. But Arizona, I think it would be a different team with Kyler Murray there. That's all I'm saying.
Full spectrum on Drake London is he has a groin issue. Mm-hmm. He was limited today. So obviously the only way to heal that is rest. So I think they're just being careful with him. Most likely he's going to play because I don't think that's going to hold him out unless it he re-injures it throughout the week. Mm-hmm. But that's really the only key guy that they might miss, and then it's a big if.
Okay. So what are you thinking for this one? What's the
Arizona?
key to the games on these ones?
Very easy. Kyler Murray, his first game back. What can we expect from him? Because just like any other quarterback, he hasn't really practiced except for this week. He hasn't really thrown to all his receivers. Where's the chemistry going to be at? Is he going to airmail some of these passes? That's kind of what I expect a little bit is early on in this game, the offense for Arizona is going to struggle because Kyler Murray's still got to dial it in. He's got to get back into the swing of things. James Conner is also returning, starting running back. So that's huge.
Yeah.
For Murray to come back and now have Connor in the backfield, they're going to be able to run the football. Grady Jarrett no longer there for Atlanta. He's missing some time for the Falcons. So that's where I think Cardinals can take advantage is in the run game. And I mentioned earlier in the show that the D coordinator for Atlanta he has his head up his ass. So I don't think it's going to be much different in this game. I think that guy is absolutely terrible. And Arthur Smith, can he be creative at least enough to put points on the board? This is another team that struggled. I'm going to roll the dice here and go with Arizona with Kyler Murray returning, with James Conner returning, and this underrated defense for the Cardinals to make a difference here. Joe,
I couldn't have said it any better myself.
Oh, really?
You're reading exactly what I'm thinking, buddy.
Well,
you're picking up what I'm putting down,
that's right.
I'm picking up what you're putting down, my man.
It's the ESP we have.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. Same thing I'm thinking. I'm thinking
Okay.
that with James Conner in the game,
Yeah.
they are the 8th ranked offensive rushing
Correct.
together with
Yep.
him on there. So the key for them, especially to keep it safe for Kyler Murray coming back, he's known for making plays with his legs. James Conner, dish it out there when you got to drop back to throw. Kyler Murray, if it ain't there,
He can just bolt.
They're going to do RPOs. They're going to make it happen here and get him out there in space too. So where now you feel like that defense has to bring a spy out to do that.
Right.
And we already know, we said it the last, within this hour even, how porous this defense has been. And I think he's going to maybe eat him up a little bit. I think
For sure.
Atlanta's caught by surprise, and maybe now Arthur Smith, we're seeing him in a different light to where he might be on that warm seat right now moving forward. So I'm going with Arizona as well, too, with this one. The Detroit Lions and the Los Angeles Chargers here.
Yes.
So much the fact now with the Chargers, again, I am not sold on Herbert right now, man. I don't know. I'm swaying right now. I talked to some people today, though, and they're feeling it. They're feeling the way I'm feeling it, and I'm not sure about it.
I wouldn't say it's Herbert's fault, though. That's the thing is people are blaming Herbert.
Think
it's not him.
Fault,
it's not him. It's not him. I'm telling you. Like the offense before this new coordinator that they hired,
Kellen Moore.
offense wasn't the problem either. The defense was the problem, and you're still seeing that today.
Yes,
is that the Chargers have failed on defense more than the offense has failed. So
even though the media, real quick, wants to try and tell us that they're not. Because they keep bringing up the fact that Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack on the time,
Why? Because they for the first time last week they actually woke up and did something. Come on. So I mean, like that's the thing is I know the narrative is going to point to Herbert because he's the quarterback, he's the leader of the offense and all that, but I don't think it's Herbert. I don't think it's him. So I think it's more the Chargers defense. But for Detroit, this is a team we don't have questions about, and they're also healthy across the board. Like everybody is coming back. David Montgomery's missed some time. He's a full participant. He's coming back to join the running back ranks. And then you have newly acquired pre-draft or pre-trade receiver Donovan Peoples-Jones from Cleveland is also ready to go. The guard Vitae is back. So and Frank Ragnow practicing full. So that's a big thing.
That's big for them.
Detroit looking as healthy as ever, gonna play the Chargers. We've seen the Chargers struggle from time to time. I have to go with the hot hand. I got to go with Detroit. This is a team that we picked to win the division. They are 6-2 right now. They get another W.
Boom. I like it. Again, I'm feeling it. And let me tell you what, and this maybe sounds funny.
I'll tell you what.
Let me tell you something right now.
I'll tell you what.
You've been saying it a bunch of times, and I laugh at it. Even though it's a home game, it's not a home game for them ever.
Never.
I'm even believing it here that there are going to be more Detroit Lions fans in the house here over those Chargers fans, even though the television broadcast is going to keep showing us those well-placed Chargers fans in the house.
You got two over here.
They got to find them and keep them solid right off either side. But I think Detroit's got a lot of momentum, like you said, getting healthy, and Montgomery's, I think, a big key on this one, and him being able to run the football. I like the Detroit Lions in this one to bite the kneecaps off of the Chargers.
I like the terminology. I love it.
Boom. Shaka.
I like it.
All right, next
the
one, G-Men and the Dallas Cowboys.
I know you're super excited about this game.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot to break down about this one, Joe. Let's get right into it.
Let's go to the stat sheet.
All right.
Cowboys win.
It's over. There you go. So, again, Giants, we know where we are. Matt Barkley, he's going to try and do something here for them, but, the defense didn't even show up last week though. Too, we talked about how the
What
defense
defense?
maybe,
Yeah.
hey, look at they're actually a bright spot of this team. They actually have been producing points in the first half, other than the offense.
Yeah.
That was the bright spot. And then last week you didn't even show up. Like, what the
No.
frig are you guys doing at this point?
I have to give some credit to the Las Vegas Raiders offensive line. I mean, Dexter Lawrence is a handful for two men. And for them to be able to kind of hold it down against him and prevent him from getting into the backfield and Kayvon Thibodeau, non-existent. Like after having a very successful week the week prior, having sacks and everything, multiple sacks, to coming into this, and you're expecting them. I even expected the Giants D-line
sold right into myself
to get right in there and make a problem for the rookie. But guess what? For the first time, I've seen the Raiders actually have signs of life.
Nothing is impossible.
And with a rookie quarterback, nonetheless, this is something surprising. They benched Jimmy G in favor of a rookie, and he did what he was asked to do. He just managed the game. So I got to wonder how Jimmy feels right now. Pretty deflated, I guess.
Yeah, it's funny. And I thought it was odd even too, because I don't know. It's weird how the broadcast likes to display the game or whatever. You know what I mean? How they even now with the Chiefs game, they got to show Taylor Swift every time.
Paint a picture.
Whatever.
They paint a
whatever
picture.
They got to do. They're quick to jump on certain people. I'm like, look at him over there on the sidelines. It's just he's itching to get in, and it's just not looking good right now. They did not pan to Jimmy G on the sideline at all.
No.
You know what I mean? You see that? And even the success that they were having, the team's
What
winning.
success?
They're
Wait a second.
Well, I mean, my Giants are freaking terrible anyway. They
What
didn't even show that there.
success?
I'm just saying, the success during the game. The team was amped up. Max Crosby was amped up. You know what I'm saying? They're getting that. And
Well, for this game?
This past game.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
I thought
And
you were
they
talking
even
about
showed-
Jimmy G as being successful at quarterback.
No. I'm talking about during this game. And you know how fast they are to pan to the sidelines and look at him on the sidelines. Let's see what Jimmy's reaction is to this. You know what I mean? Because, he was benched or whatever. We're putting this guy in. Let's go look at him and see him on the sidelines being with the headset on or whatever.
Yeah.
They didn't do it at all.
No, because you want to know why? They're not surprised.
Well, yeah. Maybe they didn't want to hurt his
That's why.
feelings, maybe, too, because maybe they
No.
liked him so much. You
Forget
know what I mean?
that.
Because they're big Jimmy G lovers.
No
they
way.
believe in him still.
No, they
I don't
just
know.
not. I just think that they weren't surprised. I think nobody is surprised by that move. Because if you watch Jimmy G play, airmailing the ball like crazy. Like you can't even complete a pass. You don't throw it to one of the best receivers in the league.
I mean, throw it
come
over
on.
him. Yeah,
To Devontae, you don't
Yeah.
even throw. You don't throw it to him. No, like
even-
target wise.
Target-wise, I know, but
Didn't
when you
even
do,
throw it
you're
to him.
off. But yeah, no, I
Anyway.
understand that too. That got into a Raiders thing again,
So
off topic a
Dallas.
little bit, but. Well, that's because there's nothing really to talk about this game. I think Dallas,
That's right.
they're rolling really well right now. They embarrassed the Giants before, but that was even when Daniel Jones, I think, was in,
Yeah.
and even Saquon Barkley when Saquon got injured. There's nothing to live for here in this game.
I mean-
I'm going back to my original thing. I'm just going against the Giants for the rest of the season.
I'll say this: like this game, if by some miracle the Giants pull this off, I don't know if I can watch football anymore. It's going to be it because this is probably the most one-sided
Make your dreams
game
come
pick
true.
that you could have in any given week. Like Cowboys, do not fail us now because you will be the laughing stock of the league. Just saying.
Well, yeah. It would be terrible. And then what do you say for Mike McCarthy even too? And what are you doing against this team?
Well, we know that he's not all that.
Well, one thing we
cracked up
also
to be.
notice throughout the league too is once you get a win against the Giants, all of a sudden that makes you a real contender and you're on the right page. Because look at how they painted your team out. Yes, guys, you did win, and the Vegas Raiders did win.
They played really good, though.
And they did win
For the
with a
first
new
time.
coach. But didn't they paint that game out as like, look at Antonio Pierce now. What a different coach, and we really motivated these guys, and look at them go. And they did feel good afterwards. But it wasn't like it was a spectacular plan and what they did to defeat the Giants or what they are. The Giants are just terrible.
Well, the Giants are a professional football team, if you want to call them that. But I think it wasn't so much of them making it a big deal about them beating the Giants. I think it was more about how
but it just seemed
they
like
were
every time
able
after,
to. The team responded so much better with different coaching and a new head coach than than what they had previously. So I think that was more about what it was more about like, oh, you know, we're I think a lot of people were surprised on how hard the Raiders play. You know what I mean? Really wasn't because they beat the Giants, you know.
We like to
honestly,
make people feel better about themselves. Joe.
Honestly, I kind of was surprised by how well they played, to be honest.
Right? It was a tough game. You know, you fooled me.
Dallas
All right,
Cowboys
we got
all the way.
We got Mike Tackett in the house tonight,
Yeah.
Joe. What does he got to say here?
He goes, all right. He goes, Joe, how much of a disservice? Wow, he really pinpointed this at me.
Dang.
How much of a disservice would Mark Davis be doing to the organization if Antonio Pierce wasn't hired permanently? And it's funny that you bring that up because this is kind of like a thing swirling around like, oh, he got the troops ready to go and had them all fired up. And yeah, because that's the type of person he is. Like, he's a fiery person. He's a player's coach. And everybody responds well to him. But I'll say this. As a Raider fan, I'm sorry. I have to be more patient. He won one game against a team that isn't very good right now. And whoop-de-doo. Like, let's see what he can do down the stretch of the season. Can the Raiders be able to win 4 or 5 more games? You know, down the stretch, that would be a huge thing to where now you can make that predetermination like it would be a disservice if you move on from this guy because clearly the players respond well to him. Just get maybe, you know, put different D coordinator, you know, his own staff in place, and then let's see what happens. But I think it's too early to kind of make that declaration to just crown AP, as the players call him, as a head coach right now.
Yeah, he's going to hire Plaxico Burress as a wide receivers coach and teach you how to go to a club and shoot yourself.
I don't think that's happening.
Anyways, yeah, but no, so yeah, it's good for them, but who knows? Maybe he will because people have talked about even the fact that they let Rich Bisaccia walk out on when it seemed like the coach, you know, the players really like the coach too on top of it. But
different situation.
I think we'll see again. Time will tell because again, I did see Antonio Pierce on the sides. Wasn't even using the headset a lot about anything either. He was just like watching the game and seeing how it played out.
Well, I'll tell you right now, he was very active on the sideline. Yeah. Like he was talking to players when they came
that's
off.
One thing though,
I have never seen a head coach march up and down the sideline as much as he did. Like he was trying to get his steps in.
Yep.
Like I don't know if that was a thing. I'm behind on my steps. I'll do it on the sideline. But no, AP was very involved. And if you ask anybody leading up to that game, I guess he visited every single position meeting, was very involved. So for Vegas and them, who knows? I mean, Mike, it's possible, but again, I think it's like too early to tell. Like he's got to have some success instead of just one game.
Who knows? You know, Antonio went in for the handshake, and Mark gave him the full hug. Did you see that one on the sideline?
Yes.
In the game? So they had that moment. So who knows? Maybe he's buying in already. All right. Yeah. So that being said, we just jump to that Monday night game here. We're already talking about the Raiders, and no sense to bring it back up.
All the way to
just
Monday night.
Just the Monday night quick because we're there.
Wow.
Vegas Raiders here at home against the Jets. Do you feel confident enough that they can win? Oh, yeah, Sunday night. Sunday night. Do you feel confident enough that they can pull out a victory here against the Jets? And that defense is playing well. But again, Zach Wilson, everybody's looking at him, but I don't think it's exactly his fault because in that last game too, he seriously could not even get a chance to go through his reads in the time to get his the ball out. So I think his offensive line has failed him too on top of this.
Terrible protection.
So they got to really establish the run in this game. Vegas, I think it was nice for them to pull out a victory here, but again, it was against the Giants. Jets barely pulled out a win against the Giants as well, so I think this might even be a tough game here and close.
This is going to be a close game because
I'm going to go with the Jets, even though on this one, just to be safe.
Because I'll tell you right now, Zach Wilson, there's anybody, like even myself included, that thought this kid could, you know, get rid of the mistakes, like develop and get better. Like we've seen, like even last week, you saw him make some really nice throws, but a lot of them just were off target. And he held on to the ball sometimes. And something else I noticed, too, that what the hell's a quarterback coach for? Because this kid is literally dropping back and throwing off his back foot. He's not stepping into his throws. I realize that maybe the protection kind of influenced that in some way at times. But there was definitely times throughout that game where he could have stepped in, made an accurate throw, and just is still slinging it off his back foot. So that right there is a big question mark for me, mechanics wise, footwork wise, and then for the Jets offense, mightily struggling. Mightily. Their Jets defense has to keep them in every game right now. The Jets defense almost has to win it for them. You're traveling to Vegas, a team that just came off of, like, you know, call it what you will. Like they got a win under AP, great. But this is going to be a big test for them. This is another team where, honestly, it's a beatable team because of their lack of offense for the Jets, because of Zach Wilson not being dialed in. I think you just make them one-dimensional. Stop the run and force Zach Wilson to make the plays. Mm-hmm. Raiders, we know that who's going to be after him, chasing him is Crosby, the Condor, on one edge. So, and what you've noticed too with this team defensively is the personnel has changed a little bit. There's like a D tackle I saw for the first time since the draft. He got drafted, never played. All of a sudden got to play last week. You know, you're seeing Tyree Wilson get more involved in the defense finally. You know, and I wonder how much of that was the coaching problems from previous regimes. So I like what Vegas is doing. This game is going to be so close, though. I feel like both offenses will struggle. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to go with Vegas on this one, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, no, if you look at it even personnel-wise, though, Joe, I mean, why wouldn't you even, too? You got Devontae Adams, you've got Josh Jacobs, who looks like he's running the ball.
But that defense, that Jets defense, man.
I know.
That Jets defense is nice.
But
real
the
nice.
offensive line of the Jets have been pretty putrid, though, too, in this fact. So who knows? But all right, getting back now to Seattle and Washington.
Back it up.
Washington surprised me last week. You know, again,
They
when you think
surprised the hell out of
they're
me.
selling again, get rid of their two best pass rushers, and maybe this is just how bad that Patriots team is. They just totally look.
Their offense is putrid.
Just absolutely terrible. To where, again, people, even though, again, he just renewed his contract with an extension, that people are still like, I think they're almost hinting enough in the headlines like, Bill, just walk away now, dude. Do you want, because, again, one of the other topics, again, on one of the shows again today was, should Belichick stick around for a rebuild? Is he going to stay there for a rebuild? Is he going to be able to rebuild this team? I don't know at this point, because they've never had that success in the draft at all. So they have not shown that they can build a team through the draft. He finds people's garbage and makes something out of it, I think, in free agency.
It's funny. I actually want to kind of do more digging on this, but Bill Belichick became the GM in 2000. Okay? His first two drafts, he drafted guys like Richard Seymour in the first round. He drafted Matt Light at guard. Both really good players. Richard Seymour's in the Hall of Fame. Matt Light is a all-pro.
Yeah.
But that's it. You look at the rest of the draft in the middle rounds, the late rounds, really nobody to speak about. I mean, maybe serviceable players, but nothing that really made an impact. So, and then obviously the one season that, you know, Tom Brady got drafted in the sixth round, and that's kind of where it took off from there, where they hit on. But I want to kind of go back and I want to look at every draft since Bill Belichick has been the GM to see how many impactful picks he's made as a GM. And is it time for him to step down from the GM position and just go back to head coaching? Because remember when the Patriots had like guys like Scott Pioli as a GM, and they had some of these very, very successful GMs in place, and they just drafted much better. Like, you know what I mean? And then Bill's like, oh, I got this. You can get rid of them. I can do it. It's just too many hats to wear. It's too much time invested. So I kind of want to take a look at that. I'll probably bring that on for next week, and we'll kind of take a look at Bill, and we'll reevaluate, is Bill worth being the GM?
I like it. Absolutely, Joe. So getting back to this game, though, and when we were talking about the Commanders, again, where I'm thinking Ron Rivera is going to be on the hot seat. I think even still he might be after this season of what they're doing with the trades and getting the draft picks. I think it leans towards that way. Seattle,
I think it just amps them up to get more things.
Maybe. Yeah. Seattle here at home has always played better. Their defense plays really well, and then the fact that they have Leonard Williams on top of it too is nice for them. Just got to limit the picks here in the turnovers on Geno, and I think you're good. I like the Seattle Seahawks here at home against the Washington Commanders.
I like Washington to put up a real big fight, but Seattle's probably going to end up winning.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I agree with that.
I like. Here's the thing that's interesting to me is that there's this young kid on the Commanders right now, and this is probably the reason why they went and said, you know what, we don't want to pay them big contracts. Let's trade Montez Sweat. Let's trade Chase Young. We're going to be okay. We'll save that money that we were going to invest in them. There's a young kid right now in Washington. I don't even know his name right now. I didn't even look it up, but my God, last week, dude was screaming off the edge and was in the backfield like a handful, like half the time, was creating some disturbance. So that's kind of like where you see the mindset from, like projecting in the future. Like, do we want to invest a lot of money in one dude or keep or have an up and coming kid? So that's where they went. Seattle. What can I say? Like, they're a team that's expected to beat Washington. It's bottom line. You're at home. You're with the 12 at home, and it's going to be very loud and rambunctious there. I'm going to go with Seattle Seahawks in this one.
Yep, absolutely. Here we go now, finally, to
last but not least,
Monday Night Football,
dun,
November
dun, dun,
13th.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. So here we go. We're going to see the Denver Broncos. Let's ride against the Buffalo Bills, who are going to circle the wagons here. We're going to circle the wagons with the let's ride.
The worst thing Russell Wilson came up with, because he wasn't even doing anything, and he's just like, oh, let's ride.
Here we go. Let's do this. Yeah. So Denver and Buffalo, who knows what we're going to see out of this game. You know what I mean? But Buffalo, they need to right the ship. They do miss Matt Milano. We've seen that. We've said it a bunch of different times here. They do play better at home. It's going to be a tough game, but I'm still going to ride with Buffalo just because, again, Denver, I just don't think they have enough. I never
really
thought
you don't think they have enough
to do anything here. They started off worse than I really thought they would, but despite all that, I still don't think they're going to do much. I
thought Denver was a big pile of shit before, and with Sean Payton,
now they're just a big fiery pile.
A lot of people thought Sean Payton, with the addition of him and him being as good a creative coach as he is, that he was going to be able to turn this thing around. But I'm sorry. He's very disappointed in the personnel that they have, and he hasn't really hit it. He's made it well known. So I kind of expect Russell Wilson almost, if they can, out the door, but at the very least, might be a backup, a very expensive one at that, for them going forward. Buffalo Bills listen, this is a game you got to win. Like, you will be laughed off the face of the earth if you lose to the Broncos Monday night. Bills, got to get it done. I'm going Buffalo in this one. Should be a pretty easy win.
Should be. We'll see. Unless you
got to put that disclaimer in there, Jim.
Should be.
You got to say should, because nothing's definite anymore.
Yeah, no, and that's what I mean when we talked about parity. We don't know. It could be all of a sudden Russell Wilson's riding that pony all the way to the finish line in this one.
I mean, we kind of know. We are in the know. We want you to be in the know. So do us a huge favor. Head over to YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Help us grow this football community of ours. It's really great. We got guys like Mike Tackett that chime in. Tom Leiter's been missing lately. I'm almost ready to call the authorities to see where he's been hiding.
I'm going to jail.
And we got plenty of other know-it-alls in here commenting every single week. Listen, we're an interactive show. Make sure you get in here, you comment. We'll respond to it. Ask a question. Give us your thoughts. That's what this is all about. Get it done.
Yeah,
next
absolutely.
week, Wednesday night, 8:30 p.m.
subs out there.
We will see you guys here. And good thing you reminded me.
That's right.
Let's get to 100 subscriptions on YouTube. And then Jim, my friend right here, is going to get very sick because he has just claimed that if we get to 100 subscribers, he's going to do the Will Levis challenge.
Will Levis challenge. I
will
eat
eat a
banana peel and all.
Yeah, eat a banana peel. And drink coffee with what?
Mayonnaise in it.
Oh, God.
It's horrible, but I will do that for you guys and for you.
And you got to drink, and you can't just like have a couple sips. You're going to drink the whole cup.
And maybe we will sign up for that patron thing that Mike Tackett's talking about.
That could be exclusive content.
Exclusive content. So how about that? All right. Thank you so much. It was a great show again.
That's it.
We will see you guys next time.
Later.
Join us next week from 8 till 10 Wednesday night for more Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.